That's about going to wrap it up for a Monday night. Time to turn out the lights and say goodnight. My producer tonight has been Lisa Martinico. Our engineer tonight was Jerry Martin, as always, and I want you to stay tuned for After Hours with Dick Shaffron, featuring the music of Journey from now until 12:30. And once again, I'd like to take just a second to thank you very, very much for spending.
And then start from the bottom, very bottom right hand side. Start.
Okay. Well, hello everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. From the 1980s, of course. I'm dating myself now, but I want to welcome you with open arms and a great big hug. No, I'm not Alan Allman. I'm Dr. Nada, and welcome to the Sleep and Stress Management Workshop. We look forward to this great time with you, about 30 to 40 minutes or so. And but yes, that was very relaxing. Hopefully it didn't put anybody to sleep here before we get started with this presentation there. So, but Alan Allman, back in the 80s on WNIC, had a great program there before, during bedtime hours there. So just give you a heads up right now. The next workshop the next webinar is next month. At the end of September, we're going to tackle Heart Smart Nutrition. So one I've been teaching for many, many years, the #1 cause of death. So causes of heart disease, heart failure, or stroke issues. Is it preventable? Absolutely it is. So we're going to talk about prevention of these things. And but you know, we really have to make a change if we want a brighter future. And so I always ask, you know, what future do we want? What future do you want? A lot of your future and your health is in your control. We just have to keep learning and applying. That's the main thing. So that's the basis of these workshops and webinars that we have every month now. And so what you do now does matter towards the health that you have in the future, whether it's a year from now, 5 years from now, 10, 20, 30 years down the road. So we want quality of life. It does depend on what we're doing now. Okay, so I'm just going to first, before we get into the body of the material, just want to present the disclaimer alert. So I'm just going to move on, just let you know there is a disclaimer here. You can check this out later if you wish. Okay, so we're going to first talk about sleep deprivation, one of the greatest tortures known to mankind. And so we are a sleep-deprived culture, no question about that. It's considered one of the top pillars of our health, sleep, along with nervous system function, your body, nutrition, movement of the body. These are all pillars of health, and sleep is one of them. We can survive for extended periods of time without eating, but not for long without sleeping. So I'm going to share with you what has helped me personally on this venture, what the leading research is saying, and how I've helped many of my patients with their sleep and their stress as well. 1 out of 3 adults have insomnia. So sleep issues, insomnia, there's many different forms of sleep issues. The most common are insomnia, sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome. But in terms of insomnia, 1 out of 3 adults have it, a disorder that can make it hard to fall asleep, stay asleep, or get restful sleep. And but there's many things that also create it. Just having back and joint pain, hip pain, you know, can wake you up at night. Asthma, allergies, depression, heartburn, sleep apnea. Some may know that. Headaches, you know, restless legs as well. Stress, of course, is a big one. Environmental stresses and stressors, lifestyle stressors, which we'll go into tonight. And medications are also known to have side effects of interrupting your sleep. So someone with insomnia is basically defined as they often take 30 minutes or more to fall asleep, or they're waking up throughout the night, and they may only get 6 or fewer hours of sleep for 3 or more nights a week over a month or more. So acute insomnia is something that's brief, you know, because of life circumstances, studying for an exam or something you had bad news or something like that. So that's acute. Happens in a short period of time. But chronic insomnia is disrupted sleep that occurs at least 3 nights a week and lasts at least for 3 months. Okay. So sleep apnea is definitely relates to some people here and directly relates to insomnia. The breathing stops, repeatedly, stops and starts. If you snore loudly, you feel tired. Even after a full night's sleep or have a headache within the first 2 hours of being awake, you may have sleep apnea. Of course, there's sleeping studies and tests that you can get to determine this. Now, there's basically 2 types of sleep apnea. One is very, very rare, and one is the more common type. That's the muscles in the back of the throat kind of relax, or you have blocked airway. And this is due typically to being overweight or having what's called a head forward posture. So a head forward posture, a postural problem, a structural problem in your spine and your posture can actually be a big cause of it. And again, the other one is the central sleep apnea. So your brain actually doesn't send proper signals to the muscles that control breathing. Again, very rare occurrence, but it's called central sleep apnea. So short-term sleep interruption, in the short term causes many things as well. Moody, you're irritable the next day, causes fatigue and headaches, concentration issues, confusion even, heart palpitations, even things like increased pain awareness. So just even with one poor night's sleep, you have a greater perception of pain in your body, decreased immunity, digestion issues can happen as well, cholesterol. So release of stress hormones can happen even with short-term sleep interruption. And it's basically due to increase or stimulation of what's called your sympathetic nervous system. Your sympathetic nervous system is part of your autonomic nervous system, and that can be stimulated, put you into fight or flight. And that's called the sympathetic nervous system. We'll talk about the parasympathetic nervous system. We'll talk about that a little bit later. That's the more calming part of the autonomic nervous system that you want to be more in or have a balance between the two. But a release of stress hormones due to short-term sleep interruption can cause cholesterol to rise temporarily, can cause blood sugar to rise temporarily as well, even blood pressure to rise as well. Now, of course, long-term sleep interruption, that gets much more serious over time, can cause allergies, affecting things like that and causing that. Asthma, acid reflux, it disrupts stomach acid production when you have chronic sleep issues, digestive issues then, reduces blood supply to the gut, can actually create things like IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, even contributing to ulcers and ulcerative colitis. Obesity can result from long-term sleep disruption, depression, anxiety, panic attacks. It decreases the serotonin, the feel-good hormone, neurotransmitter, the neurotransmitter of your brain. Serotonin can be affected and cause anxiety and depression. Migraine headaches can be caused by long-term sleep interruption. Diabetes, things like increased insulin resistance. Hormones can be affected as well. So a good night's sleep may be a natural form of hormone therapy, actually. The good hormones, the human growth hormone and pituitary hormones, hypothalamus, things like the sex hormones, testosterone, progesterone, estrogen, thyroid, insulin. These are all hormones that can be negatively affected. Inadequate sleep triggers shifts in your endocrine system, which produces these hormones, altering those hormone levels. So very significant. High blood pressure, of course, can result from long-term sleep interruption. Things like heart disease, heart attack, irregular heartbeats can arise from that. Memory loss as well. So a lack of sleep can decrease your ability to create new neurons called neurogenesis, new brain cells, actually. And it can go into and impact things and cause things much more serious, though, as well, like Alzheimer's. Can even lead to that, a long-term sleep, chronic sleep interruption. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, multiple sclerosis, even cancer. Black box warning side effects. So now, this list of sleep medications that you're seeing is not updated here. There's many changes with these. The names change often. And so, but you look at these sleep medications. I've actually had patients come into my office, and they were sleepwalking, they were sleep eating, they were sleep driving even. Had a woman that come in, and her neighbor says, why were you out with your son 3 a.m. in the morning driving him around? And she had no recollection of it at all, because she was on a sleep medication. So there was a side effect of sleep driving even. So when you mix it with anti-anxiety drugs, which are extremely addictive, you can even significantly reduce pulse and breathing rates, and cause other things as well. So it's definitely in the annals warning strange behavior, abnormal thinking, sleep driving, and sleep shopping is another one there. So there's many side effects to all medications, and there's a whole list of other side effects there. So the mirror cabinet question, the mirror cabinet, what is that mirror cabinet in your bathroom called? You might say a medicine cabinet. Now, why do we call it a medicine cabinet? It's almost like we're born to fill that thing up. We call it a medicine cabinet. We name it a medicine cabinet. And are you healthy or are you not healthy if that thing is chock full of drugs? It's just a question for you. I'm not saying all drugs are bad. I'm just saying something we have to consider, and certainly side effects as well. The top 10 selling drugs actually in North America right now are, 2 of them are cholesterol drugs. Antidepressants, 2 of them are antidepressant drugs, anti-anxiety, blood pressure medications, acid reflux, heartburn, GERD, pain medications, sleep medications. So when you look at these list of drugs here, the top 10 selling drugs, it's the question I have is this a sign of a healthy nation? Are these getting to the causes of people's problems? So it's why you have to do something different. You know, take back control of your health. You have to correct the cause. You have to get to the cause. That's always been my message. You know, the body can heal, but what about lifestyle? What about nutrition? What about the impact of nutrition? What about exercise, toxicity? What about nerve system function? You know, as a wellness doctor, we offer drugless solutions to health problems. I say, you know, have a medical doctor, wonderful people, but have a medical doctor for emergency first aid, crisis type care. But who's your wellness doctor? You know, who's a doctor that will not give you medications, will be a drug-free doctor for you, and may help you from going down that path of medications. Did you know that many drugs affect deep sleep? So it's well known when you look at side effects, sleep medications actually can cause you to not have deep sleep as one of the side effects. Things like antacids and proton pump inhibitors can affect sleep as well. Appetite suppressants, ADD drugs, cold and flu medications, steroids, high blood pressure medications, analgesics or painkillers. These are all known to interrupt sleep. So the most important things to get deep sleep, well, first of all, let me talk to you about your internal clock. There's something called the circadian rhythm that we all have. It's regulated by light and dark, right? Circadian rhythm. There's low light, depending on the season, but let's say 6 to 8 p.m., the dusk time of the day. There's low light, and guess what? Your cortisol lowers. The ideal bedtime, probably around 10:30. 12 to 2 a.m. is when you experience typically deep sleep, and your cortisol is low. 7 to 8 a.m. in the morning, that's when light, the sun rises. That's called dawn. And guess what happens? Your cortisol raises, and you become more awake. So a normal sleep pattern is basically about 4 90-minute cycles of light sleep and what's called rapid eye movement into active sleep, and then a deep, quiet sleep. So there's things called delta waves and slow waves. You know, the mind consolidates during deep sleep. During this time, it catalogs memory and have the most tissue repair as well, especially the heart and brain tissue. It goes through a lot of repair during this deep sleep. Even things like with Alzheimer's patients, they're are known to have what's called amyloid plaquing, like cotton candy in the brain, or tau bodies. And these things get cleared out or cleaned out somewhat, science says, when you are in deep sleep. So possibly not moving on to develop Alzheimer's then, because you're clearing out these amyloid plaquing that's in the brain. Now, the triggers of poor sleep, again, cortisol can be messed up. So why is your cortisol messed up? What's happening? Physical stressors like pain, restless legs again, sleep apnea, caffeine, blood sugar issues, overtraining your body, overexercise increases cortisol and increases pulse rate. Not a good time for sleeping when your pulse rate is up. Bladder problems, prostate problems can cause things as well. Fluid elimination. So people with prostate issues or bladder issues, but also you have problems with fluid elimination. Again, things like you can get hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. In the middle of the night, the blood sugar drops. The blood sugar drops is counter-regulatory. So what it does, it counter-regulates hormones. The counter-regulating hormones kick in, like adrenaline. It's because it's a response to your blood sugar dropping. So your adrenals kick in, and the adrenals release sugar from storage, and guess what? It takes you out of the deep sleep, right? So that's what happens when the cortisol raises. So you can't get to sleep. Things like that can be due to again many things, but one of the things is mineral deficiencies like calcium, magnesium, potassium. If you're waking up at 2 a.m. in the morning, again, the adrenals probably got jacked up, and you have cortisol going through there. So again, most important to get deep sleep. Try no TV, computer, phone right before bed. That's the blue light. I've been hearing more about that. Blue light stimulates the pineal gland, which is the awake center of the brain. So there's a book I read called Sympathetic Dominance, Sympathetic Nervous System, Fight or Flight is what that means, by Dr. Wayne Todd, called Sympathetic Dominance by Dr. Wayne Todd. And he was talking about the blue light and recommending that you wear yellow or beige type of light or red glasses. He recommends that, or while you're on screen. And you must dim the screen. You can also have ways to dim the screen as well. Now, other things like 7 to 10 cups of vegetables per day and getting healthy fats in your diet. So good mineral support produces healthy cells and brain cells. Something like intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is also, you decrease the need for sleep. It goes down when you intermittent fast. And intermittent fasting supports gut and brain health as well. So I know that's not listed there, but we'll add that. 7 to 10 cups of veggies, minerals. You get your minerals and healthy fats, good for brain function as well. So correct things like postural and structural obstructions. So getting pressure and interference off of the nervous system. We're certainly going to explain that a lot in a few minutes here. Again, that's the sympathetic nervous system, the part of the autonomic nervous system that comes out of your spine, out of your nervous system, out of your spine. And you want to get that system balanced with the parasympathetics. You want to get interference off that nervous system. Okay, and then again, the postural, the head forward posture interrupts and causes sleep apnea. Structural obstructions can affect airway pathways. So these are all important things. Your posture matters. So no caffeine after 1 p.m. No hard exercise, alcohol. Alcohol causes middle of the night waking. It may help you get to sleep, but it can wake you up in the middle of the night. Eating after 6 p.m., hard exercise after 6 p.m. So a rule of thumb is no food about no more than or no less than 3 hours before you go to bed. No food less than 3 hours before you go to bed, because it causes blood sugar to drop in the middle of the night. You get warm, stimulates cortisol, raises heart rate, pulse rate. So you see why that could wake you up. Again, reduce stress. That's a big one. the fathers, the men that come in to see me who are fathers, who are dads, they often say to me, once they had kids, the moms certainly go through this as well, but I've had dads say to me directly, once they had children, it was harder for them to sleep. Their brain stays in protective mode and it stays on alert. And so, what we basically need is we need outlets. We need outlets, exercise, yoga, fun, joy. We'll talk more about that. Keep consistent sleep patterns. Same time to bed, same time awake. With shift work, people on shift work, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, very difficult. The research certainly is very, very clear on difficulties with these people and their health over time with shift work. But your golden minutes are before midnight. So, the more sleep that you can get before midnight, the better. A firm mattress, of course, firm bed, comfortable pillow. These are all things as well, minor things. The sleep area must be dark and cool. So again, not stimulating that pineal gland. Keep things dark, nice mask that this lady's wearing in her slide, and keep things cool, 70 degrees or lower if you can. Again, it just allows the body to be more comfortable and you're not raising body temperature and things like that. So let go of your day. So some soothing music, white noise. You can buy these machines that produce white noise. I have the Calm app. So I have an app on my phone that it's called the Calm app, and you can play sleep stories, and it's about 10 minutes long, or a sleep story about 30 minutes, and it really puts you in a restful mood there. Supplements like melatonin, adrenal support, things like GABA, keeps your cortisol in check. Things like B vitamins, zinc, magnesium. We have all these things in our office. Pardon me. So we look at stress. Okay. So there's basically 3 stressors. I wouldn't mind some water. Okay. So we look at different stresses. So lack of sleep is a big stress to the body. So you're not alone if you're feeling more stress these days. Surveys show that about 80% of us are sometimes or frequently stressed. And this was before the pandemic. So you can't eliminate stress, but we can learn, to better management. And that's the whole idea here. So stress can steal your health and happiness, with the right strategies and mindset. Thank you. Just drinking some water here, guys. Give me a sec. So with the right strategies and mindset, you can take control and have a deeper calm. And that's the idea, right? So 3 stresses that we're going to go over: physical, chemical, and emotional. So physical things that happen to us, bumps, bangs, traumas, subluxations in the spine, pressure on nerves. There's many different types of physical stresses. Chemical is what you eat, what you drink. Environmental, medications. Those are all chemical stresses to the body. Emotional stresses. So the body responds, interestingly enough, all 3 of these stresses, the body responds very similarly to all 3. Short-term stress can be good. Deadlines, you run from a situation. But long-term stress, of course, just like sleep, chronic stress is never good. Okay. So we look at what stress does. It increases heart rate, blood pressure, blood sugar, the low-density lipoprotein cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, cortisol, and all stress hormones increase. Adrenal exhaustion. So it can cause adrenal exhaustion. Now, but stress also decreases gut blood supply to the gut, immune system, destroys immunity, basically, body regeneration. Thyroid stimulating hormone decreases, the thyroid stimulating hormone, so you get low thyroid. It decreases serotonin levels. That's, again, that feel-good neurotransmitter, feel-good hormones in the brain. Stress decreases serotonin, decreases sex hormones, minerals. Stress burns up minerals. So think about that. If you're under chronic stress, if you don't have good nutritional support, mineral support, you are really going down a real bad path there of minerals, deficiency of minerals, which can cause many other things and conditions. So you're basically in fight or flight, all right? So with the gut blood supply, I just want to add that the blood supply to the gut, if it's decreased, it disrupts your microbiome. The microbiome is the gut bacteria that you have in your gut. It can lead to things like leaky gut and also lead to things like autoimmune diseases. So stress decreases blood supply to the gut, affects your immune system, affects the microbiome, and can lead to things like rheumatoid arthritis, infertility, PCOS, thyroid, MS, multiple sclerosis, lupus, ulcerative colitis, many different things there like that. So and many more. So fight or flight, what does the body have to do to fight or flee? It puts you into that state. So overexposure to stress hormones disrupts nearly all bodily functions, increase your risk for numerous health problems. And so you see how serious this gets: heart problems, high blood pressure. Sleep problems causes your, because you're worried about things, you're living at too high pace of a life. See, when stress builds, your mind becomes very busy. You get nervous, anxious, you're fixated on problems, you have lack of focus, concentration, you're not productive, and you have a low tolerance to stressful situations or even people. Digestive problems result. Again, IBS, ulcers, leaky gut, perforations in the gut lining. Obesity and diabetes results. There is, again, insulin resistance and fat storage that can happen there. Memory impairment. So it can cause brain damage over time. It brings on Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, forgetfulness, brain fog, these stress hormones chronically, when you're chronically stressed. Things like skin conditions, eczema, psoriasis, higher rates of infection. Even cancer, it destroys your immune system, basically, your immunity. But depression and anxiety, the drug companies, depression and anxiety, my goodness, the drug companies are having a field day here, especially with depression. 30, 40, probably 50 years ago, you really didn't hear a lot about depression and antidepressants. Now it's all over because the drug companies found a label to apply to everybody. Who here wants to be happy then? Right? That's everybody. So Effexor, Prozac, Zoloft, Paxil, all of these, about a $330 billion industry in revenue per year. But most mild, moderate cases are completely treated and reversible with proper lifestyle. But people don't take an aerial view. Here's the challenge. A lot of us don't take an aerial view of our life to see what's causing problems that we're having, even depression. So we think that, we drug a patient versus looking to the causes, because the medications are so easily accessed. So just because it's common, it doesn't mean it has to be normal, right? The doctor said it's okay. Well, maybe it's not okay. Okay, so as well as a Big Mac and French fries, supersizing the body, stress can also pack on the pounds. Right around the waist, typically, the midsection, which is the most dangerous weight that we can cause, what we can have, which causes heart problems, high blood pressure, and diabetes. So let's take inventory. Knowing there are 3 types of stressors, right? Physical, mental, emotional, and chemical. What's weighing you down? So maybe write that down. Write down yours. What are your stresses? Is it poor nutrition, excessive sugar, lack of sleep, lack of exercise, you're too sedentary, right? Is it menopause? Is it a poor mindset? Is it bad life situations? You know, like personal relationship, occupational stress, relationship stress, sustained stress, or spinal issues. You can have spinal issues leading to interference to your nervous system, which causes stress to the body. So let's get to the cause. Know yourself. Get the right information. I always say get the right testing. Far often that's not happening. We're not getting the right testing. Okay? Reduce the stressors. Get your hormones checked. You know, things like your sex hormones, right? Progesterone, estrogen, testosterone. Things like human growth hormone, your DHEA, cortisol, thyroid, all those, etc. You know, get a micronutrient panel. A micronutrient panel measures how well you're absorbing your vitamins and minerals. Get your vitamins and mineral content checked in your body. Even the gut microbiome health. You can get fecal tests done, a fecal test, which measures the good bacteria, and you might have bad bacteria that are growing in your intestine. You can get food tolerance tests, food intolerance testing, and get your spine checked. Now, further to the things like autoimmune disease, the stress is linked with a 36% greater risk of developing autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, Crohn's, celiac, lupus, MS. The immune system is a natural defense. It's a protection system from disease and infection. When you're under chronic stress, it turns the defense system against itself, attacks healthy cells. So I say, get the right testing again. You're going to have the right doctors. I personally have a functional medical doctor. I have a naturopath, massage therapist, you know, and a chiropractor. So these are my doctors that help me. So cholesterol is the vital building material for hormones. So if you just take a peek at this, I'll leave that on this here just for a few seconds here. Cholesterol is used to form cortisol. We need cortisol. But your adrenal glands may be exhausted, not producing anymore, or it might be too high because you're under stress all the time. So cholesterol is used to form cortisol. Cholesterol is also used to produce testosterone, say for men, for example, a sex hormone. Then you look at the bottom there, cholesterol, DHEA to testosterone. DHEA is a precursor to estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, which are the sex hormones. You know, when I had the right testing done, and I find that my DHEA level was low, I've been supplementing DHEA, and guess what that did? It helped testosterone. So for the guys with low testosterone, you're probably under too much stress, or perhaps you're taking statin drugs. Statin medications or the cholesterol lowering medications, they're known to affect these chains, these protocols here. So if your adrenals burn out as well, they get exhausted due to too much stress. What the cholesterol does is it steals from the testosterone. The cholesterol takes testosterone and produces more cortisol. So cholesterol is stealing from your testosterone. That's why your testosterone is low as well. And it's making more cortisol because cortisol has been exhausted. So that's what happens. So you support your adrenals, B vitamins, DHEA, magnesium, vitamin D, vitamin C, adrenal support like ashwagandha, Relora Plus, Phytozone, things of that nature. Let's move on. I'm going to talk about the canary in the coal mine. Thyroid is the canary in the coal mine. Stress, remember, the stressors are physical, chemical, and emotional. When you're under chronic stress, stress hormones are released. TSH, right? Thyroid stimulating hormone is decreased. So if you have chronically increased cortisol, It shrinks your lymphatic system. It decreases antibodies. Let me explain. It diverts amino acids from your lymphatic tissue, lymphatic tissue, leading to a marked reduction in size and breaks down the nodes of the lymph nodes. This is accompanied by a marked decrease in antibody production, which raises susceptibility to viral and bacterial infections. There it is. Effect on the immune system. Important, especially during this COVID time, wouldn't you say? And then the stress hormones released, TSH decreased, causes your thyroid stimulating hormone goes down. Your thyroid decreases function, hypothyroidism. Your thyroid not functioning. Your digestion decreases. Your serotonin decreases, the feel-good hormone of the brain, neurotransmitter of the brain. So what happens thus? You're prescribed thyroxine, antacids, antidepressants, and sleep medications. Do you see how this works, folks? People under stress also are more likely to have poor lifestyle behaviors. They smoke more. They get less sleep. They have increased drug and alcohol abuse. It's a very significant thing. The insanity, if you see the insanity of this vicious circle here. So a stress state, the adrenals kick in, your sympathetic nervous system gets stimulated. That's the fight or flight. If it's chronic, you lose minerals, you lose reserves. It's hard for you to handle anything. It's hard for you to recover. In a relaxed state, the opposite of SNS, which is PNS, that's a parasympathetic nervous system. Your thyroid functions normally. You're in a state of rest. You can sleep well. Your digestion is good. And your body goes into a state of repair, and it repairs very well. So the solution to healthy adrenals and thyroid. Well, the causes are high fructose corn syrup, beverages and food, right? Got to get that out. Standard North American diet, right? Of too many bad carbs, not enough healthy fats, not enough vegetables. Medication use is a cause. Refined foods, enriched foods, environmental toxins, unhealthy stress. You know the people who line up at Tim Hortons and Starbucks? Many of them have adrenal issues. That's why they're there. They need that coffee. So the solutions are drink more healthy water, eat more organic veggies, reduce or eliminate medications if you can, and with the help of your doctor. Eliminate refined foods, enriched foods, eliminate environmental toxins, decrease the physical, emotional, chemical stress. I got this article in the United States, the American Psychiatric Association. The past president, his name was Dr. Stephen Sharfstein. He said that there is no clean-cut lab test to determine a brain chemical imbalance exists, and that still is the accepted theory. But there's no test with these things. Depression, anxiety, bipolar, ADD, ADHD. There's no blood test. There's no test anywhere. It's all based on symptoms. There's no test that proves that somebody has a brain disorder. It's subjective. We know the symptoms are there, but the solution always seems to be change the chemicals within the brain. I just see that as very dangerous. And his colleague, Dr. Mark Graff, chair of public affairs of the American Psychiatric Association, he said that this theory was probably drug industry derived. So it's drug industry derived. It's called disease mongering. They see a set of symptoms that people suffer from, name it, label it, create a disease out of it, so they can do what? Drug you. They hope from the womb to the tomb, from the cradle to the grave. We're not saying abnormal behaviors don't exist. It's a very, very sensitive subject, no doubt about it. But treat them all with mind-numbing toxic drugs? There has to be a different way, possibly a different way. Shouldn't we get to the cause? Wouldn't there be a cause? Isn't there a cause? The medical industry does not look at nutrition, additives, the chemicals, the toxicity, environmental, health, household chemicals, for example. They don't look at the nervous system and the immune system, dysfunction, sedentary lifestyles. Psychological stress can cause biological changes in the brain. Wouldn't you agree? Including a reduction in the size of the hippocampus. That's in the midbrain, responsible for learning and memory. Stress is a major contributor to depression because it suppresses the production of new neurons in the brain. Saying your disease is solely due to a genetic disorder or genetics or due to a chemical imbalance, that theory is dangerous in that it tells, what it does, it takes away ownership from the person. So they then think that there's nothing that they can do for themselves, and therefore taking drugs is the only option. Depression is the result of multiple environmental and biological factors, including heavy metal, chemical toxicity, faulty mood regulation, stressful life events, nutritional factors, lack of exercise, medication and medical problems, among others. Antidepressant and medication side effects include things like suicide and homicidal ideations, increased risk for type 2 diabetes. Antidepressant medications have been linked to thickening of arteries, increased risk of heart attack, and been linked to dementia as well. So it can also deplete nutrients from the body like CoQ10, vitamin B12, adrenal support, iodine, and folate. So here's an example. We talk about fitness. Exercise in a study that was done involving 80 adults aged 20 to 45 years old, diagnosed with mild to moderate depression. Researchers looked at exercise alone to treat the condition and found that depressive symptoms were cut almost by half. Again, mild to moderate depression, who participated in 30-minute or less aerobic exercise sessions, 3 to 5 times a week after 12 weeks. Playing volleyball, pickleball, whatever it was, tennis, biking, walking, briskly swimming. I teach burst training in the office. So I like to teach more high-intensity interval training, no matter what your age is. Doing something in a short period of time, but at a little bit more higher intensity. That's been shown to have positive effects on the brain, the neurotransmitters of the brain, positively stimulating something called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factors in the brain. Burst training, surge training, high-intensity interval training, even if you're have knee problems or are elderly, there's still something that you can do that would be beneficial for you. Okay. So, and lastly, we're going to talk about nutrition supplementation, and we're going to talk about nerve supply as well to actually end this. So what you eat significantly affects many, many things. Your mood, and many things in your body and how your body works. So that's because the same foods that nourish your body also nourish your brain. While depression has many, many causes, it's really about an unhealthy brain. A healthy diet creates a healthier brain. Eating nutrient-rich foods can help you feel calmer. So the bottom line is food can provide sustaining energy and give life to your function, or it can really suck the energy out of you, which makes you more depressed and not able to sleep. So keep your energy up and your brain sharp. Good, healthy nutrition. So firstly, things to avoid: the sugar stuff. So avoid the sugar stuff, the refined grains, that's white flour, whole wheat flour, wheat. Dr. David Perlmutter wrote the book called Wheat Belly. He also wrote a book, Brain Grain, or Grain Brain. A lot of good research that he presents on that. Even the dairy, has lactose in it, and that is not actually good for your health. Pop, soda, alcohol, things of that nature. But you'll hear me say this again and again. We promote the good amounts of healthy fats, like avocados, raw nuts and seeds, and nut butters, cold water fish, the smash fish, the low mercury fish, things like halibut, salmon, mackerel, sardine, herring, anchovy. There's very, very good fish, cold water fish, that's very healthy for you. But again, fats like and nuts like almond nuts, Brazil nuts, walnuts, cashews, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, all unsalted. Olive oil at room temperature, very healthy for you, healthy fat. Coconut oil for cooking. These good fats, basically they reduce, they're a wonderful source for fuel for your brain and your heart, but they're a great reduction. They cause great reduction of inflammation in the body, in the joints, in the heart, and the brain as well. So things like organic coconut milk, unsweetened, very good as well. Good for the heart vessels, and again, the brain. Cellular health basically needs good, healthy fats. The cell membrane is made up of fat. It's a phospholipid bilayer. Good, healthy fats for nutrients going in, waste products coming out. Healthy fats also help neurotransmitter function in your brain. Your moods are more stable with proper fats and healthy diet. And so you don't want to have the additives, the preservatives, and all those things, and processed foods that go into those other things as well. So good quality protein sources are like, again, the fish, wild Pacific. It's got to be wild fish, don't forget, wild Pacific or Alaskan wild fish. Look for wild. Grass-fed meats, grass-fed beef, lamb, chicken, cage-free or organic chicken. I've seen some at Sobeys. It's a great store near Ottawa Street and Walker Road. The market there, can't remember the name now. Starts with B, Brantners or something. Brantners. It's very good. Walker and Ottawa. I think it's Brantners. Very good sources for these things. Free range eggs. Again, the more plant-based proteins, the better. Then there's things like our shakes that we have in our office. Is chickpea protein. It's called Metaclear, chickpea-based protein shakes. Very, very good for meal replacement as detoxification factors as well. Good for weight loss. Just great, convenient nutrition. The Core 4 Foundation is what we teach in our office as well. Very, very popular in our office. The protein shakes, the vitamin D, the fish oil, and again, something called Mariva, which is the curcumin, which attached to Vitazone, which is a very anti-inflammatory supplement as well. So again, Metaclear shakes, protein shakes are very good. So nutrition is very important. Stay away from high carb, low fat diets, high bad carbs, that is, the bad carbs, sugars, refined grains, things like that. Low fat diets that have increased obesity. When they said go low fat, it was one of the worst things that ever happened. Obesity skyrocketed, diabetes skyrocketed, brain issues. It's frankly a stress to the body when you eat that way. So we promote mostly paleo, plant-based, mild ketogenic, which is basically no sugars, no refined grains. Again, wheat, whole wheat flour, white flour, anything with white flour, and eliminating dairy, and find your source of calcium in other ways. You can get those in green leafy vegetables. You can get calcium. So that was just milk does not make a body good, and make a body good. So anyhow, that's all advertising. So low bad carbs, high good fats, moderate amounts of protein. I have a protein, a healthy fat, and a vegetable with every single meal, even breakfast. Eggs, veggie, almond in the morning, or I have a shake in the morning, and I have a lot of frozen vegetables that I cut up, and I put them in frozen bags, and I put those in my shake. And so I get vegetable breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Able to get all my servings of, that's the only way you can get all your servings of vegetables there that we need to. Again, good fats, olive oil, coconut oil, avocados, walnut seeds, very good, and good proteins we went over as well. Okay, let's move on. Very interesting piece of history here for you. B.J. Palmer. B.J. Palmer was the developer of chiropractic, and he's the son of the founder. And he purchased this building here. And he had so much faith in the work that he was doing with chiropractic in its early stages. So in 1922, basically there were several inpatient mental health facilities were established. And in 1922, the Chiropractic Psychopathic Sanitarium was established. That's actually what it was called. They later changed the name to Forest Park Sanitarium. Chiropractic adjustments were the dominant clinical service provided. Now, each day the patient was actually examined and adjusted. The room was sunny and bright, and the meals included large servings of fruit and vegetables. There you go. North Dakota Judge A.W. Poneth noted that at the North Dakota State Mental Hospital, the cure and discharge rate ranged from 18 to 27%, compared to 65% at Forest Park Sanitarium, with the chiropractic adjustments and the sunny and bright, edifice there, the rooms and the vegetables and eating good fruits there. In 1951, Clearview Sanitarium was acquired by the Palmer College of Chiropractic. Unfortunately, though, here's what happened. Both institutions were closed. Forest Park in 1959 and Clearview in 1961, in large part due to, they said, third-party pay issues. The insurance company shut it down. They often refuse to pay for the costs of care. Boy, does that ring true even to this day. So the 1970s saw a renewed interest in chiropractic care and mental health issues associated with mental health issues. In 1973, Dr. Herman Schwartz published a book entitled, let me see if we have this here, entitled Mental Health and Chiropractic, a Multidisciplinary Approach. So in 1949, Dr. Schwartz published a preliminary report of 300 patients, 350 patients afflicted with a nervous or mental disorder, and reported that the majority of them showed improvement under chiropractic care. Interest in this field continues to this day. We know that the nervous system, specifically the sympathetic part of the nervous system, has been shown to influence states like depression, anxiety, fight or flight, those types of states. Remember, everything we experience is processed through our nervous system. The nervous system interference now compromises our ability to respond appropriately to stress. So warning signs of an improper functioning nervous system, many different things. If the bones are out of alignment in your spine due to falls, slips, accidents, high stress over time, it causes bones to go out of alignment. So that's called subluxations, puts pressure, irritation, blockage of the nerves, interference on the nervous system. The brain sends messages through the spinal cord, out the spine, to all the parts of the body. And so this nervous system cannot work properly. There's nerve stress is what it's called, leading to dysfunctions in the body. It affects the sympathetic nervous system. When there's irritation to the nerves of the sympathetic nervous system, you go into fight or flight, versus the parasympathetic, which again is rest, digest, and repair. You want these systems balanced. Chiropractic has a way of doing that. So warning signs of a malfunctioning spine nervous system are many: shortness of breath, tired, fatigue, poor energy, chronic colds and flus, numbness and tingling, many things like that. The nervous system controls and coordinates all the functions of the body. This includes breathing, sleeping, digestion, and even the stress response. So one of my favorite posters in chiropractic showing where the nerves are going, even to the organs, and how they can affect organ function. So here's a summary. We need to eat smarter. right? Avoid bad fats. Include healthy fats. Avoid sugar. Avoid flour-enriched products, breads, pasta, rice, tortillas, cookies. Prevent those sugar blues. Sound familiar? Proper nutrition and supplementation. So we have supplements like fish oil, stress management support resources. We're going to talk about those privately with my patients. Relora Plus, Phytozone, vitamin C, magnesium, GABA, melatonin, green tea extract, and powerful anti-inflammatory sources like curcumin. Drink more water. It balances the blood pH, detoxifies the body. We say half your body weight in ounces per day. Half your body weight in ounces per day. Make sure we're exercising. Relieve that stress. Releases endorphins. More effective than antidepressants. Remember we said for the mild and moderate, research has shown. Practice optimism and thankfulness. Find your purpose. Find your joy. Do things that give you joy. Get plenty of sleep. It affects your mood, makes you cranky, and causes depression and many other more serious ailments. And most importantly, get your spine checked. A lot of people don't understand this one. So what does chiropractic have to do with it? Well, I've been explaining it somewhat here. Proper nerve supply matters. And when you have your spine and nervous system checked, you get adjusted. You can affect that neurological brain to body connection. And you calm down that sympathetic nervous system. So, get something like the Calm app. Make sure you're deep breathing. We find a lot of people aren't breathing. They're panting. So get a hold of your breath. Relax. Go for a sauna. Go for a massage. Find a supportive community. Build coping skills, right? Get the body stronger to withstand stress. If we are to make it in this world, especially in our present circumstances, we have to have sustainability to keep productive, to have mental clarity, enjoyment. It really takes ongoing management and assessment. And it also takes proper testing. Sometimes you have to arm yourselves. You have to take back control, get the knowledge, apply the knowledge, arm yourselves so you know what questions you have to ask your doctor. You have to ask your doctor questions. You have to be your own advocate. Be assertive with your needs. Remember, drugs typically mask the problem, right? Take control of your health, build it from within, be empowered. That's the purpose of our webinars. I appreciate you sticking around for this time period in this webinar. See you next time. If you have any questions, I'm going to check the chat right now, but also for the guests that may be still on the line, we're going to give you an offer in just a moment. For the patients that are online, watch out. We're going to send you an additional link tomorrow. It's an exclusive link tomorrow on the sleep and stress supplements. Okay, we're going to give you something separate, so be aware that tomorrow we're going to send that out. And for the guests that are here, we do have an opportunity for you to come in and get checked. We do a consultation. I'll ask my patients. We're very thorough here. We're going to check you individually. We want to know your needs, your health issues, consultation, examination, including x-rays. There is a second visit as well included called a report of findings. And you get these 2 visits, $29 new patient exam. That's all you got to pay for the 2 visits. Normally it's about $175. All you have to do is click the link to reserve the appointment. Is there a way to do that?
Just click this way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, let me put that up for you. So there's the offer. Sorry about that.
Just hit publish.
Yeah, so that's what you do is you just click the link, book now, and we will get a hold of you through your email contact there. And again, so patients, just want to be aware, we're going to send you an additional link tomorrow. Watch out for that. It's all the information about the supplements. And for the guests, again, appreciate you coming on. And next month is the be aware of the heart workshop. Very, very important one there next month. I appreciate you all, and have a great night.